done threading the loom, and it's time to put the loom back together. So I do that, and I'm gonna get my other piece. Just to make sure this is going the right way, this tool that holds the beater has a couple slots. Just make sure that, like, I'm in the back slot on both sides and it just slots right in. And now there's a pad that just hits that part of the loom. So there's the next part. And now I need to get two other things. I'm gonna go grab some sticks and my reed. And actually, this reed is going to be perfect. It's an 8-dent reed, and I have a 16 EPI warp. So I'm going to put 2 threads in every dent of this reed. Meanwhile, I have to go get one other thing. I need my sticks again. And actually, if you can see back to the back now, I'm going to take out my rattle because the rattle's done its job, so I might as well take it out. So I'm going to release the zip ties and carefully, because if it gets stuck on your warp, that'll be sad. Remove the rattle, and I'm going to put that back. And now I'm going to take my sticks and rest them on the back beam. I have my knots tied here so that I don't lose my warp, because that would be sad if it all came undone. And I'm going to rest the sticks on the front beam. And then I'm going to take my reed and position it here. So just like with your rattle, your reed has a middle part that you're going to align here with the middle part of your loom harnesses. So I'm equaling that out. I have a 4-inch warp. So what I can do, actually, is go to that middle part of my reed and just put a little mark. I'm going to put a mark at about 2 inches here and 2 inches there. So I know now how much space my warp is going to take up within that reed. Let me change positions now because I'm about to start threading the reed, or slaying the reed as they call it. So now I'm on top of the loom. I went over to the drawer and I got this tool. It's called a sleigh hook, and there's a drawer that's labeled sleigh hook. And I'm gonna get my chair. Here's my middle position. Here's 2 inches over, 2 inches over. I have my 4 inches of my warp spread equally or across the middle. What I notice is that now I don't even have enough warp thread. So I'm gonna push the brake release, the farthest right treadle over here, and it releases that back beam. Release, 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 so that I can give myself more warp because I need more to get through this. So I'm gonna start on my first section, and I have to go back and take my first thread. And in this case, because I have an 8-dent reed and a 16-dent warp, my set is 2 per dent. So I'm gonna take the 2, the first and second threads. You can see here, I can only take the first and second. I have to take these in sequence, right, on the petals. And I'm gonna take those 2 and lay them perpendicular to my first slot, and I take my sleigh hook, pull it up, grab it with the hook, and sink them down. There's a lot of ways to approach this. So that was the way where I'm pulling from the bottom, and now I'm going to get my next two, which are dark, dark. I can either do from the bottom or I can push down from the top. So those are your two choices. Every weaver is going to have a different thing that they like, but I end up often, so again, I'm on light, light, first and second harnesses, pulling those two threads back, crossing them. I like pushing. I don't know. That's just maybe how I learned. Pulling is fine too, and you're just going dent to dent. You don't want to skip a dent. That'll show up. Taking the next two. So this is what you do for the rest of your pattern. So for some of you, it's going to be 1 thread per dent. For some of you, it might be 2, and some of you might have a different pattern where it could be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Basically, it's just going to spread out your warp appropriately, and it's going to help pack your warp because we're going to beat your weft into place with this reed. It's very cool. So again, keep going. You have to lay it perpendicular to the slot because, of course, if you try to lay it parallel, you're going to be trying to thread something rather impossible. So here we go. So if I do this, I mean, that's just much more difficult. If I take it from the bottom and lay it perpendicular, I can grab it easy. So it just depends, again, on what's comfortable for you, what you like. Both work well. Grab it, pull it down, and then just keep going. So I'm in the section now where my dark, dark, light, light is going to switch, because now look, I have 4 lights in a row. And here we go. And in your next demo, I'll show you how to get the reed up and get your loom or your warp tied on.